Welcome to the Mike Litton Experience podcast. Mike has over 31 years experience in real estate, finance, and investing. He's passionate about being a father, a teacher, a realtor, an investor, and a leader. Everyone has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. And now, introducing the host of the Mike Litton Experience, Mike Litton.
So what can you expect from the Mike Litton Experience? You can expect stories that will inspire, motivate, advice that will sharpen your focus, and expert information on real estate, finance, and market conditions.
On and made the best of it. I mean, my goal was never, again, thankfully, my parents never put this on us. It wasn't like, hey, you need to get an X, Y, or Z score on the SAT and you need to get into these schools. It's never what it was. It was always, learn as much as you can, do the best you can. Totally different parenting my brother and my sister and I. My sister and I put so much pressure on ourselves. My parents never really had to say a word, so I never got asked once, did you do your homework? Never. Yeah. That was never a question. Of course, we were in high school at the time, so we were young adults and we had our stuff together, but that was never a question. Yeah. So, it's frustrating, I guess is the best way to put it. And now in hindsight, it's clear that this system doesn't work. So we're going to have to rethink it. And
no kidding.
I think that's the discussion going on right now, from the top down. Is what do you do with these totally failed departments of education? So it's frustrating as a student, and it's frustrating when you want to do well and to your son, and then, the evil in it that is thankfully getting rooted out is then to tell the parent they can't move their child to a different school. It's no, that's just totally kind of loony bin. So yeah, it's frustrating, but it's a problem because the schools, particularly elementary schools, are in a sense raising the children, and a lot of the family marital breakdown that we've experienced in our country, now parenting is outsourced to these schools in a way. And that's what's really quite concerning. So,
and the schools are taking that power. They're taking that power, and it's just, and it's like, wait. No. Right. It's like,
and they have failed academic results in mathematics and reading, but yet they're so focused on ideology, and it's like you're not even getting the basics right. So,
and now they think they know better than the parent, which just drives me up the wall. And what's interesting about the charter system our kids were in, that was actually started by somebody who was in the public school system for 30 plus years. Jeez. And he just got to a place to where he just had all he could stand, got out a credit card and went out and rented an office space and turned it into a charter school. No joke.
Well, and that's, again, that's the entrepreneurial mindset. You have to let the market, so to speak, be free enough so that happens, because that's what we've seen time and time again. It's definitely in the uniquely American spirit to solve problems in that way. And that's what you have to let people do. You have to let people do that. You have to trust that the American spirit and the disposition of people is mostly good, which I believe that it is, and that smart, well-meaning people that may have some capital gain, great, start school, whatever, but that they will fix the problems, and they will. We'll see it. It's when you get the stronghold and the teachers unions and these crazy systems that are, you can go almost as far as to say they're rewarded for failing, right? Which is crazy. Yeah. Kind of fail.
It's the way they've gamed the system.
Fail upward, right? So that's what you have to prevent. And if you can prevent that, you will get a better education system. But we're decades in the hole now. So we've got a pretty crazy problem in America.
A lot of digging out to do, that's for sure.
A lot of digging out to do.
So in high school, did you have a favorite subject?
Good question. I like student government. I
obviously
I really liked econ. I really liked econ and math. Math to a certain degree, but econ was kind of the standout for me. Most of the classes were Otherwise, I liked kind of everything. I'm pretty well-rounded. There wasn't like I love writing and I hate math.
Mhm.
It was kind of, well-rounded. I like a little bit of everything. In kind of leading the business now too, there's definitely things that I'm better at, but overall, I like a little bit of everything. Like I like finance, I like branding, obviously
Mhm.
design, I like marketing, I really like sales,
Mhm.
investment relationships and raising money. I get to kind of touch a little bit of everything, which I really
Mhm.
enjoy in this role right now. Um, but I'm not like a functional expert in digital
Mhm.
marketing or anything
Right.
like that. So yeah, I liked econ because it made a lot of sense. I pretty much liked
Mhm.
everything that was very practical.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it, I went deep enough to get an A minus. I was kind of that student that like got
Mhm.
I think it was like 4.0, 4.5. So I did well in school. I put pressure on myself. I did well, but I'd cruise through with like the A minuses. That was
Mhm.
me. But it was good. It was very good experience.
Did you have a favorite teacher in high school?
Yeah, we the in high school there was our econ teacher happened to double as the head of student government. So I had
Oh, there you go.
2 3 hours a day with him. So his name was Mr. Posner. He was great. Everyone loved
Yeah,
him. So that was probably the best. Yeah, the
that's
best.
cool.
Yep.
So you go to USD,
Yep.
University of San Diego. What's
Yep.
your major?
Business. So at first
Beautiful.
it was international business. Didn't know exactly what I wanted to do with that general business degree. And then, I quickly got involved in campus stuff and
Mhm.
babysitting a bunch of alumni families. So I was getting kind of plugged in with a lot of the local community and some great people down in San Diego. And, I didn't know anyone. I
Yeah.
knew one person, that was kind of a distant contact that had gone to my high school, but I didn't know anyone. And so that's, I think, a really good thing for young adults is to
Mhm.
go somewhere. And, my husband says this a lot, but like when you move from country to country or place to place, you kind of like blow everything up. It's
Yeah.
like you got to start brand new.
Yeah.
And, it's difficult and certain kids don't do well with it. And it's obviously
Mhm.
hard emotionally and can be really hard socially. But man, it's a good experience to do that a couple of times in your life where you're just like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
I had that a little bit when I moved to Atlanta as well, but not as much
Mhm.
so. And yeah, so yeah, didn't know anyone, got involved, got really, going on campus, met a bunch of friends in the first few weeks. And, it was, kind of like generally studying business, but then quickly, within a month, I was helping with this company. And so all of by the time I got into like intro to accounting and all these kind of
Mhm.
silly general ed classes, I was doing all of that, or at
Yeah.
least proximity to all of that with the business. So I ended up dropping out because I was working 60 hours a week. The company was doing well. We had raised $30 million. Like it was doing well. And it was clear, like my time is better spent actually working on these, you know, accounting practices and marketing practices versus, I'd be at the office all day and then I'd go to, school in the afternoon or the evening and it'd be one day you're going to learn about marketing,
Sure.
and there was a couple of classes like that where I was like, oh man, this isn't a good use of my time. So
Yeah.
yeah, so business and, I wanted to study abroad and do work internationally. And so now it's been cool with some of the businesses. I haven't done a ton internationally yet, but we'll do more internationally. And so it's kind of a full circle.
So what's the single most important thing you learned working for Suja?
Oof, that's a great question. Um, because it's really hard to narrow down. Um, it was a lot of learning
Yeah.
really quick in about, 3 4 years.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oof. I mean, eh, there's so many things that are like specifics to the category in the industry, but probably something that's still hard and that, I'm not my biggest weakness is probably lack of patience. And
Mhm.
so, I was really young,
Mhm.
19, and was managing people that were a lot older. The rest of the
Mhm.
management team was 45, 50 years old. They
Mhm.
were kind of like, why is she here? So there were a lot of those scenarios. So one of the things I learned, I didn't necessarily do, I still need to be better at this, but it's to listen and then speak. So like
Mhm.
listen, 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 and then speak. So be slower to jump in because, I had the answers a lot of the
Mhm.
time because I'd been there and I'd seen things. So we'd hire, you know, a logistics manager from Nabisco, right? Like someone who's like this, they know what they're doing. They're the functional experts, and they would say, oh, it's X amount of pallets per truck. And I'd be like, no, it's actually this amount of pallets. I just, because I knew our product well, I knew our company well, I knew our brand well. So instead of doing that, right, listening, and again, these people are 2 times as old as I am, twice as old as I am. So yeah, I think that's the lesson. And again, that's still today, that's still things that, you struggle with, especially when you're impatient, you want to go really fast and you're working crazy fast, intense environments. Yeah. So if I could boil it down to one thing, that would probably be it, but it's hard to boil it down. I mean, there was so much in that experience. Yeah. So that would be the overarching, and you could draw that into any of the other companies that I've been a part of.
So Daily Nouri,
Yeah.
you start back in 2018, you start researching 2019, that kind of thing, form the corporation, all that, right?
Yep.
So what's the number one lesson you've learned starting and growing Daily Nouri?
Ooh, good question as well. Number one lesson so far, it's the classic, like, hold true to the mission and the vision, but hold loosely to how you get there. I mean, the main lesson for us has just been to really find the right people, right? So, I mean, it's been a lesson of, kind of people first, on building the right team. Unfortunately, this is the brutal way of saying it, but, hire slow, fire fast, finding the right people. That's been a big lesson for this company. And we've done that not too great. We've had the wrong people in the wrong roles for too long, which has cost us some time. But yeah, I think it's just the mission itself, the vision itself of the business of improving lives and focusing on the gut microbiome. Hold tight to that. We're married to that, but we, married to the mission, but you kind of date the model of how you get there. So the model can change and the model is fluid. And so that's something that, you try. And if it doesn't work, you go a different route. So try, different paths to market, different products, et cetera. So I think that's the kind of general. When we're ask me again in a few years, that there'll be a different answer. But so far, we're kind of in the thick of it right now. We're totally in the thick of it right now. So that's I think those are the main lessons that's going to stick out.
So you're a CEO
Yes.
and a founder of a company that is in hyper growth mode.
Yep.
What's the most important thing that a leader can do on a daily basis to be an effective leader of a company like yours?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on who you ask, but for those that have kind of spiritual practices, I would say prayer. That's my overarching. There's so much of this that we try and control, but you ultimately have to realize you're not in control. So I think first and foremost, again, if you have a spiritual practice, if you have a faith, prayer is the best use of time. So, whether that's 15 minutes, an hour, as much as you can get in, but that's my very short answer, and from a spiritual perspective. And that's how I'd always answer that question, because I think that's the only thing that's helped me personally, and being young and navigating through a lot of change over the last, 12 years. But beyond that, more practical business is, the other thing is, before even getting into the business, so prayer and spiritual health. And then the second thing is physical health. So the best thing you can do is keep yourself healthy. I think that we have, especially encouraging young people to be entrepreneurs and start companies, young women. There's been this huge push, which that's all great. I think that's awesome. I'm clearly the recipient of a lot of that cultural movement of, encouraging younger people to lead and get involved. But there's a lot of pressure that young people and just leaders in general put on themselves. And you talk to anyone and, the pressure explodes in some areas, and so the physical health side of things, I think, is something that you cannot underestimate. So, again, without even getting into the business tangible stuff, the two things I would say is, if you have a spiritual practice, I would encourage, prayer. And, again, for some it's meditation, but like prayer. And then the second thing is physical health. I mean, that means you can't sleep 4 hours a night, 5 hours a night, no matter how stressful things are. I mean, your body needs 7 to 9 hours a night. So, try and get as close as you can. For women, I mean, you see this now, so many women have been kind of fed this lie of, go grind, hustle and build your career and all this stuff. And then they wake up and they're like, oh, wait, but like maybe I have marriage or don't have marriage. I'm single and then trying to have kids, but I can't. My body's so stressed. I can't.
Mhm.
It's really sad, actually. So
Yeah.
physical health first, men too, ignore their health and then they wake
Yeah.
up like we're so sick. So that's what I would say is those two things first. And then other just practical advice is, I with particular stages of the company, every company needs something different in a different
Mhm.
stage. Right now, we have about a week at a time that we can plan, which isn't very
Mhm.
much. So we'll really hold loosely to plans.
Mhm.
And so that's one of the things that I do is just get really organized for the week. And then before every day, kind of go through the day and make sure you're spending time well, for the following day. But those are the things that I think have helped a lot. Again, the kind of concept of listening, trying to find good talent is
Mhm.
really hard. There's a million things to say about that. But yeah, actually, I would just say the two most practical things, without going into like the self-help business type of things, I would say is
Mhm.
spiritual health and physical health. There's nothing that can replace that when it comes to leadership, and that will make you also someone who you would like to believe your staff would want to be more like you, which
Right.
is important. So yeah.
That's cool. Okay. So Daily Nori
Yeah.
is a probiotic focused supplement,
Yes.
right? And you have a few of them, right?
Yeah, we've got about 8 products out. We'll develop about 1 product a quarter. That's the cadence. So we're really picking up a lot of innovation. We have probiotic and prebiotic. So we use both. The goal is to improve gut microbiome health.
Mhm.
So you could do that through a lot of different ingredients, but primarily we use probiotics and prebiotics. We use what are called kind of surgical or specific probiotics
Mhm.
that are designed and identified and designed and manufactured to do a specific job in the body. So
Mhm.
versus just kind of saying overall digestive health, which all of our products help with digestive health. Technically, we are in the digestive health category, right? So
Mhm.
all of our products help with digestive health. But then beyond that, what else can they do for us, right? What can this good bacteria do for us? So we have different need state probiotics and prebiotics. So a couple of areas of focus of ours are women's health. We have
Mhm.
a core women's health product, vaginal health product, focuses on UTIs, which
Mhm.
50+% of women will have a UTI, and a lot of
Yeah.
those UTIs are reoccurring. So that's a big one. All ages of life, right? A lot of people forget that elderly women get UTIs. That's a very common
Mhm.
thing. So all ages of life. And then we have a menopause probiotic, which has done very well for us. And then most notably, we just launched a hormone balance probiotic. So this is a great example of kind of our philosophy of how we approach this category. A lot of women don't know that there's a subset of bacteria in your gut that's called the estrobolome, and it's actually responsible for estrogen metabolism. So why does that matter?
Wow.
Well, estrogen obviously is super important for women
Yeah.
during times like, postnatal, but mainly
Mhm.
in menopause, your estrogen levels just crash, right?
Yeah.
So estrogen metabolism is incredibly important. And a lot of people had never known that the gut plays a role in hormone regulation and balance. And so
Wow.
that's been one of the
That's
best.
fascinating.
Yeah, so that's really cool. So we have the product for menopause, and then we use that same body of research to say, well, actually, women of reproductive age are dealing with
Mhm.
massive issues with estrogen. Also, there's estrogen dominance, which is
Mhm.
impacting a lot of women, and that's showing itself in things like weight gain, skin issues, PCOS, polycystic
Mhm.
ovarian syndrome, and a lot of, unfortunately, infertility, right?
Yeah.
So we're dealing with all of these things. And so we always look at, okay, what's going on? What is our culture right now we're just catering to the US, right? So
Yeah.
this will change a little bit internationally, but right now just what does the US population need, and then how can we innovate and be a first mover.
Right.
So women's health is a core area of focus of ours, and then weight and metabolic health.
Mm.
And the reason for that is simply just because we have so much demand. Unfortunately, our country, our culture is so sick, and so the gut plays a big role, and different bacteria particularly play a big role in regulating hunger and satiety and
Mhm.
these hormones, right, that are in between the gut and the brain that are signaling eating when you're full, all of these things. So we're very focused in those areas, but of course we've got children's product coming out later this
Mhm.
year. So we're going to focus on children's health. We've got a stress probiotic for the gut and the brain, our core digestive product, which is really focused on things like IBS, leaky gut.
Mhm.
So we really cover the whole spectrum. And you'll see us do a lot more. We'll have a lot more product out starting in 2 weeks. We're launching another product. So we'll have product out every few months. And yeah, we're just really hopeful that we can reach, millions and millions of people and help them as much as we can. Our goal is that everything we develop is right kind of in this $20 to $40 price point, which is really accessible for an average American. So there might be a little bit of exceptions to the rules depending on how technical a product may get, but we want to kind of stay in this $40 or below price range, which we feel like is very approachable.
So you mentioned you have a powder coming up. Talk about that for a second. Is that coming up in a couple of weeks? Is that the one you were talking
Yeah.
about?
So a sneak
Can you
peek
talk about it for a
for
second?
the Mike experience here. Yeah, so we're launching in about 2 weeks. Should be right around the 24th of February. We're launching kind of a first of its kind product. It's called Feel Full. It's a lemonade mix. No sugar in it, just uses plant-based sweeteners. And it's a combination of 3 natural fibers. So it's fiber, prebiotic, and a mineral, trace mineral called chromium. What it does is essentially works very similar to how like a GLP-1 drug would work, but you drink it, so you mix it up and drink it in 8 ounces or so of water. It's really yummy, easy to drink, and it goes into the body and it actually delays gastric emptying and increases the viscosity in the stomach. What does that mean? It just means that it, in a natural and holistic way, it works similar to how the drug works. Now, the big
Makes you
difference
feel fuller.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So it increases satiety, promotes a feeling of fullness, and very important to the mission of our brand, the way that this product was developed is that it actually changes the composition of the gut microbiome.
Right.
So it favors, we know there's tons of research out there. We know that there is a composition, a makeup of certain bacteria in the gut that favor a lean BMI, right? So what happens is that modernity, the Western diet, particularly rich in highly processed foods and sugars, our lifestyles, lack of movement, lack of time outside, lack of sunshine, and then also just environmental toxins in our environment itself. All these things kind of combined, they've actually stripped away the diversity of good bacteria that our body needs to function.
True.
And one of the ways that it's stripped away the diversity is these strains of bacteria that are known to promote a lean BMI, right? So what we're trying to do is encourage that bacteria to grow in the body so that we not only provide the 2 to 3 pounds of weight loss a week that consumer is looking to achieve and needs to achieve, right? Because these are consumers that are overweight, have weight loss goals. So it'll hit on that through the feeling of fullness and the lack of caloric intake. But most importantly, and very different to the route of taking a drug, is that it actually gets to the root cause and changes the composition of the microbiome so that your gut microbiome is better off down the road. So that's what we're launching. So it's a really unique product. It's not a drug. So it's not going to work like a drug. It mimics some of the same mechanisms of action, but it works for about 3 hours or so versus the drug working for a full week, right? So if you're going to take this product, you have to take it 1 or 2 times a day. It's a lot more inexpensive than the drug, but it is a product that's natural. So it's natural fibers. You integrate it into your lifestyle. You drink it throughout the day as you're eating other foods, et cetera. So that we're really excited about because, there's to put it kind of plainly and maybe a little dramatic, but I think this is pretty accurate. There's a population collapse coming if we don't change the way that we're treating our bodies. You have 74% of Americans right now who are obese or overweight. And then our children, 38% of children are pre-diabetic right now. And so we're not in a good spot. So when you look at this and you kind of just play this out, if we don't change things right now, we are going to have massive issues. And one of them is also directly impacting fertility, right? So we're seeing, for a lot of reasons, our birth rate drop. One of which is that couples who actually want to have children can't. They're having a hard time getting pregnant. It's a very, very, I'm 31 right now, very common conversation. I mean, go anywhere socially around our peer group and it usually comes up. So that's what the product's all about. It's about metabolic health at its core and the gut microbiome, as all of our products are. But it is a really impactful product because it works right away. I mean, you drink it and it works right away to promote the feeling of fullness and to help curb appetite. So we're very excited about that. Obviously a huge market potential for this product. It's a hard and difficult product. We talk about this a lot with expectation management, right? Because unfortunately the US population just still wants a magic bullet, which doesn't exist.
Exactly.
We still have to really work on the expectation management, but we're very hopeful. I think it's going to do wonders. And I think that it's going to help a lot of people lose weight the right way. And hopefully, our goal is to always encourage, and what we do is we always encourage, our users to also, change their diet and their lifestyle. And if you do all of these things together, you're going to be better off. So it'll be out in a couple of weeks, and I'll make sure to get some to you to try, and you can pass it around. But it's a wonderful product, and we think it's just going to be another tool in the toolbox. That's really the way that I look at it. We just want to present as many opportunities for people to feel their best and to live hopefully longer lives, fuller lives.
That's awesome. See, and our listeners heard it here first. That's so cool. How about a scoop? Nothing like it, right? Okay, so if somebody's interested in trying Daily Nouri, where can they get it?
Yeah, so our website, dailynouri.com, has all the products. And then most of the users online are converting, they're buying on Amazon. So Amazon, you can find all of our products. That's just the nature of the beast. Most consumers prefer Amazon. So we've got the products there on direct to consumer nationally at Walmart. So we're in usually a Walmart store near everyone who's listening. In the US, and then Albertsons and Safeway. So Albertsons and Safeway across the country. If you're in Texas, we're in HEB. And then in the Midwest, we're in Meijer. So some good coverage in retail, and then D2C and Amazon. So if you just Google it, you'll find it, and you can choose where to purchase.
And it's Nouri.
Nouri. That's exactly.
I just want to make sure people have the spelling.
No, you got it.
Dailynouri.com.
Yes.
Caroline, thank you so much for being our guest on the Mike Litton Experience. This has been a blast.
Thank you, Mike. This is wonderful. Great questions. Thank you for asking.
Thanks so much. We hope you enjoyed another episode of the Mike Litton Experience. If you did, do us a favor, smash that subscribe button, tell your friends, family, and coworkers about our program, and wherever you get your podcasts, please leave us a rating. It helps us to connect with quality people just like you.
And that's a wrap. Another episode of the Mike Litton Experience in the books. Reach out to Mike on Instagram at Litton Realty. Want to meet with Mike? Check out calendly.com/Rio760.